The noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, it's a Monday. Let's go. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Big stretch, big yawn.
Oh, man.
Have you recovered yet?
Yeah, I'm actually doing all right. I was telling Lloyd, I got home about 5:30 from Vegas. That you mentioned it during the break, that hour changeover. So, I'm in St. George. I'm like, all right, it's 11. Okay, St. George, it'll be another 4 hours. I'll get home. And then all of a sudden, you hit the border and it goes to 11 to midnight. And you're like, oh.
Dang.
Oh.
But, dude, starting a return trip from Vegas with an hour delay because of diesel sideways, and then adding the hour on the way back, and you pull in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we start our map.
Yep.
Our Sunday morning podcast because Lloyd demands it. It's 6:30 because Lloyd wants it posted.
Although we were waiting.
The listeners demand
Although we were waiting for Lloyd to connect.
Well, I'm sorry about that. We said 8 o'clock, so I figured I had a minute.
Lloyd's just getting in from the bar.
Oh, you know me all too well.
Hey, but I do want to mention it is worth it because Lloyd has just informed Scotty and I that our MAP Sunday morning podcast broke records with 62 downloads.
Yes.
Thank you
to
all of our listeners.
All 67 of you for listening.
For making it such a successful, worthwhile venture to wake up early on a Sunday morning.
I had a buddy of mine that's like, everybody I talk to listens to that podcast. And that's, so we must be like, at least 30 to 40%, because he goes, I've got a group of like 10 or 15 guys that all swear they listen to it. And I'm like, well, tell all of them thank you very much, because that's very nice of them.
But if they could get more people in their downline, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah,
they add 3 people.
We do. And remember, for each person in your downline, you get an extra diamond by your name.
Yes.
So,
yep. There's a lot of diamond platinum listeners out there.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on. You doing all right, though?
I'm doing great. Just got a lot to get to today.
Oh, boy. We are slammed.
This is as excited as I've ever been. What is today? November 17th.
Yes.
This is as excited as I've ever been on a November 17th. With just the anticipation of BYU's finish, Utah's finish, where the Jazz are headed, where the Mammoth are headed, everything that's going on in the world in sport. November 17th. Sometimes it's a real downer.
Yes.
When BYU was in Independence, it was like by this time you just knew.
Yep.
It was like, Utah, there were a couple times. November 17th, it's like, man, I think they're going to make it to the Pac-12 championship. There was excitement, but there was a letdown with BYU, or there was a letdown. The Jazz were stinking, or we didn't have the NHL, and it just feels like right now everything's exciting. There's a lot to learn from the Jazz.
Even the Jazz are pulling their weight.
And I can't wait to see what this crew is all about. I continue to want to learn more about the last 3 years of draft picks, going back to Keontae George's class, all the way up to Ace Bailey's class, everything in between, just learning about all these guys. But this Big 12 finish, should we talk about it, Scotty?
Let's do it.
Let's jump into this.
Let's do it. Not
talk
wasting
about the Big
time.
12 finish.
All right, so we'll kick off your starting lineup here in about 10 seconds. Remember, Bronco Mendenhall coming off one of the most gut-wrenching, just kick you right in the stones kind of loss. Will join us coming up in about 20 minutes from now. You'll hear from Kyle Whittingham at 2:05. You're going to hear from Kalani Sitake at 1:05. So we are packed, locked and loaded. Let's get to it. Starting lineup right now.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go!
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, starting lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, we thought Utah would win big. We thought BYU would win big. And guess what? They did exactly that, leaving no element of doubt whatsoever.
Okay, so I've done everything I can, Scotty, to simplify what is needed to finish the season for both BYU and Utah fans, okay? I'm going to make it as simple as I can possibly make it. So when you're sitting at the water cooler and you're talking to your Utah friends or you're talking to your BYU friends, I'm going to make it as simple as I possibly can. Very easy for BYU. All they got to do is win out.
That's it.
They're in the Big 12 championship.
2 games.
Very easy. Win out, you're in the Big 12 championship. Split 1-1, you're out. You're not going to make it. You split 1-1, you're out. You will be buried behind either Arizona State or Utah. So you have to win out. And you'll be in that Big 12 championship against Texas Tech. For Utah, it's very, very simple. Very simple. Utah's got to win out, go 2-0 against the Kansas schools, and they need Cincinnati to win out. Yeah. That's it. By the way, very possible Cincinnati could win out. Now, they've lost back-to-back games, but this is a very good football team. Now, one of those teams they got to face is BYU coming up this weekend.
Yep.
BYU can ruin all of Utah's dreams by just beating Cincinnati coming up this weekend. If Cincinnati wins out and Utah win out, Utah's in the Big 12 championship.
Who's Cincinnati's final game?
BYU and TCU.
That's right. Okay.
BYU and TCU.
So they stay at 2 wins. That muddles up the pile at 2 wins.
Yep.
Or 2 losses, excuse me.
At 2 losses, and Utah with the head-to-head.
With that.
And Cincinnati winning gives them, Utah, the win over better winning percentage teams. Mm-hmm. And that puts Utah into the championship game against Texas Tech. Now, so here's just very simple. Tell your friends, all we got to do is win out if you're a BYU fan. Okay? If you're a Utah fan. All we got to do is win out. Cincinnati just has to win out. And, by the way, BYU, a 2.5-point favorite coming in this weekend in Cincinnati. Like one of the first times they've been a favorite on the road.
Yeah.
And so a 2.5-point favorite over Cincinnati.
By the way, another big noon kickoff.
Another big noon kickoff going to be showing up there. So really fun. And which I'm glad because we need to continue to press the information on BYU because nobody's getting it. No, nobody's picking up on it. And I've put together a few things today to talk about to kind of accentuate what BYU's done to this point in the season and what it would mean if they did finish 2-0 against Cincinnati and UCF. So we'll get into a couple of those things. But for Utah fans, just say, oh, man, all we got to do is win out and Cincinnati win out, which is very possible.
Oh, very possible.
Cincinnati's a very good team, and maybe they're just shook up and ticked off enough that they find a way to get that win over BYU, and then they would beat TCU. If Cincinnati were to find a way to get BYU, they would beat TCU. So
it essentially comes down to this game, Cincinnati, BYU.
It comes down to this game.
Yep.
BYU can end it for Utah.
Yes. So the other, a week or two ago, you needed, if you were a Utah fan, you were cheering for BYU to beat Texas Tech. Now, guess what? BYU fans, you can bring it all to a screeching halt with just one win against Cincinnati.
That's right. You beat Cincinnati, and it everything but wraps it up for Utah to get into the Big 12 championship. Now, there's still a case to be made. If Utah were to beat the 2 Kansas schools and BYU went undefeated from here on out, 2-0, beating Cincinnati and UCF, BYU meets up with Texas Tech in the championship. Depending on what happens in that championship, Utah is going to be sitting in the top 10.
Yes.
If Utah beats Kansas State and Kansas, by the way, the line opened at 16.5 for Utah against Kansas State.
I think it was actually 17.5. I think it's dropped.
It's moved down.
Yeah, it was like 17.5. I was like, okay.
And by the way, I've got an explanation for that in a minute too. We've got so much to get to, but Cincinnati is a very good team. That's a very, very good team. Now Utah put the blueprint out there. They showed the world how you beat Cincinnati, and you just put all the focus on Sorsby. And Tawi Walker, really good running back. I was watching a little bit of film this morning. Really good running back. Sorsby is the engine that runs that offense. And that defense, there is room to pick apart that defense. We'll talk about that as we go through the week too. But it's really simple. It's really simple. If Utah were to win the last 2, depending on what happens in that championship game, I do think Utah's going to be in the top 10. Utah could get a bid. They could get a wild card bid. If Texas Tech blew out BYU in the championship game and Utah showed, again, 20-plus point victories over Kansas and Kansas State, I have to believe that the committee is going to look at Utah and say, We need to see what this team is.
Yeah.
We got to see who they are.
I know we've gone back and forth on this, and I threw that out to, was it Shahan? I threw it out to somebody, and he's like, no. One-loss BYU team with a head-to-head, even if they lose in a blowout to Texas Tech, would still get in over Utah. And I'm like, I don't know, because you look at the respect being shown Utah by the polls and by the College Football Playoff Committee. I wouldn't feel that comfortable about that if I were a BYU fan. I think that you have to show well in that conference championship game against Texas Tech.
By the way, that is a really broad statement. Show well. It's a broad statement that we can narrow down a little bit. All that means is you got to be in the game going into the fourth quarter.
Because even though that game was 29-7, which doesn't indicate a huge blowout, there was no point BYU, you really felt like in the second half BYU was in that game.
No point. Not even close.
Yeah. And so that late touchdown.
Texas Tech smothered. Okay. Yeah. I say not even close, but I will say that turned in the first quarter when Parker Kingston dropped the fumble.
Yes. Yeah.
So when it all turned.
But in the second half.
Fans engaged.
Yeah.
Players. And that was the first quarter. So fans engaged, players engaged, everybody engaged. And sitting in the booth, it was like, okay, you're going to have to find an extra possession here with a turnover. Something's going to have to go BYU's way if they want to have any chance in this. And at that point, Texas Tech just ran away with it. So, yeah, it was very quick, and it was just all Texas Tech. In that championship game, BYU is going to have to be in the game in the fourth quarter and can't have a fourth quarter like Utah did against Texas Tech.
Yep.
Let's just say that Utah-Texas Tech game plays out for Utah or for BYU and Texas Tech in the championship game, they'll leave BYU out. Agree?
I agree.
How many points did Texas Tech put on Utah in the fourth quarter?
It was I can't remember, but the final was what, 34-10? And it was a 3-point game going into fourth quarter.
It was 13-10.
13. So they put
8:40 mark.
So
roughly.
they put 21 points up late in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
I will give you.
They scored that touchdown was like around 8:40.
24 points in the fourth quarter. Okay, if you replayed that game, Texas Tech and BYU's in it through three quarters, it was 10-3 all the way through the third quarter. 10-3 for Utah and Texas Tech. And if you play that out, and then BYU gives up 24 points in the fourth quarter, and it finishes 34-10 to Texas Tech, I think the committee leaves them out. I feel like there has been such a negative emphasis placed on BYU by pollsters and committee. And what I'm having a hard time with is explaining it. Because I was going through their records, Scotty, BYU is 4-1 against Power 4 teams with a winning record. They're 4-1 against Power 4 teams with a winning record. They're 5-1 against FBS teams with a winning record. Those wins are against ECU, who's 7-3.
Good win.
On the road.
Yeah.
Arizona, who's 7-3. On the road. Utah, who's 8-2, who's beloved by everybody at home. Iowa State, who's 6-4 on the road. And TCU at 6-4 at home. Those are your 5 wins. And by the way, that stacks up against pretty much everybody in the top 10 right now in college football. Talking about wins against Power 4 teams with a winning record. It's as good as there is. Okay, I'll give you for instance, Utah right now has beat 2 teams with winning records. That's it. Arizona State, who's 7-3, and Cincinnati at 7-3. Baylor's at 5-5, so they're 500.
Yeah,
that was still a good whooping. They beat Colorado, who's 3-7. West Virginia, who's 4-7, Wyoming, who's 4-6, and UCLA, who's 3-7. And look at all the praise that gets heaped on them. BYU beat ECU, who's 7-3 on the road, Arizona 7-3 on the road, Utah, who's beloved and praised, who's now 8-2 at home, Iowa State, who's 6-4 on the road, and TCU 6-4 at home. How are people still holding BYU underwater?
Computer nerds love Utah.
Because the statistics, so now here's my push for Utah.
Yeah.
Here's the margin of victories in those games.
Yes.
33 against UCLA, 25 points against Wyoming, 34 against West Virginia, 32 against Arizona State, 46 against Colorado, 31 against Cincinnati, and 27 against Baylor. That's their margin of victory. So that's why the nerds love them.
Yes.
Because if you go look at their offensive numbers and their defensive numbers, and you look at margin of victory, there are very few teams in the country that match those numbers. And nerds love numbers.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But I don't understand how the nerds don't love a 5-1 record against winning FBS teams and a 4-1 record against winning FBS Power 4 teams.
I think there's also some people that when they have watched BYU, look, BYU's been relegated to a lot of 8 o'clock games, and I think that plays into it a little bit. I don't think you've got a lot of East Coast people watching BYU just based on a good chunk of their start times. I think people look at the Colorado game where they're like, ooh, Deion Sanders is coaching. Let's watch that game. And Colorado jumped on BYU early, and BYU had to rally to come back and win that game. There's been a couple of those games that BYU's had to rally after being down and coming back. If you just look individually at eyeball tests, in the games that Utah's won, they've won so in massive convincing fashion. BYU has had to have some come-from-behind victories. They've had a little bit more drama.
A couple of 14s and a 10.
But at the end of the day, Hans, isn't this about head-to-head?
Yeah, should be.
And look, I'm not knocking on Utah. Look, I think Utah's great. And if Utah were
I think they're fantastic.
If Utah were to play BYU again, I think it's a 50-50 shot.
If you play that game 10 times, it's probably 5-5.
Yeah. And so, look, this isn't any disrespect to Utah at all. I think Utah deserves all the respect they're getting. It just seems interesting that BYU is playing catch-up to Utah.
I don't get it. Because when you break down the records, the teams they've won, doing it on the road, beating Utah's their best win.
Yes.
And BYU fans should feel really proud of that. And Utah fans should feel good about that because, you're one of your worst losses of your two is against a very good BYU team. And by the way, Utah fans are having a hard time pubbing up BYU, even though pubbing up BYU makes their record look a lot better.
Yep.
But Utah fans should be screaming from the mountaintops that BYU is a top 5 team in the country and that Utah lost to 2 top 5 teams in the country. That's what Utah fans should be screaming.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to the committee picking the wild cards to push into the 12-team bracket, those two games better look pretty good for you.
So
if you don't make it to the Big 12
all right, so let me ask you this. If you're the college football playoff, you're sitting on that committee, is your number one priority in slotting those teams, is it we want teams in here to reward them based on what they've done in the regular season, or are you putting teams in that you feel are playing their best football going into the playoff?
Well, personally, I want teams that are playing the best football.
See, I do too.
I want teams that can surprise some people.
Yes. I want the 12 best teams playing football right then.
I don't know. Does the committee go back and look at the Utah-Texas Tech game and say, Devin Dampier was not right?
And it was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Devin Dampier was not right. Or do they go back and look at it and they're like, oh, my gosh, Texas Tech beat them with their backup quarterback through 3 quarters? Yeah. I don't know how the committee looks at it. Does the committee go and look at the BYU-Utah game and say, oh, man, BYU beat them with a true freshman quarterback? Or do they go back and say, we see the injury was re-aggravated in the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, and they were trying to figure out a run game? Like, how does the committee look at these things? Yeah. Because if they truly investigated, Utah with a healthy Devin Dampier, and by the way, guys, I went back and watched more of that Utah-Baylor game. The combo of Dampier and Ficklin.
It's ridiculous. You got yourself a Tim Tebow, Chris Leak situation going on, Lloyd.
Right?
Ooh. Ficklin is a BA.
Yeah.
And Dampier is unpredictable. Anyways, really good things that are going on. If Utah beats Kansas State and Kansas by a margin of 20+, and they don't make it to the Big 12 championship game, the committee has to look at the final 5 games and say, 46-point victory, 31-point victory, 27-point victory, a 30-point victory, and a 28-point victory. They are putting up 420 yards of offense. They're holding teams to 218 yards of offense.
Didn't you say they have like the number 1 or top 5 scoring differential?
Yes. Yeah, it's in the top 5. I know it's in the top 5.
Because at one point last week going into that game, it was like 36-14.
Yeah, 39.6 to 14.2.
Yeah, there you go.
Almost a 25-point differential on average.
And that's a team with 2 losses.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yep.
All right, 12:27. You're going to hear from Bronco Mendenhall coming up next. Ooh, that was a rough one in UNLV. We'll break it down with Bronco now that he's had a couple days to decompress from that one. Utah State and Fresno coming up this weekend right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Bronco Mendenhall, head coach of Utah State, will join us coming up here in just a moment from right now. We'll get his thoughts on probably one of the uglier, disappointing games that, frankly, I've ever called. That was just a kick to the you-know-what.
It's tough when everybody does enough.
Yes.
To get the win, and it is reliant upon one guy doing their job, and you just don't get it done.
Yeah. 3 missed field goals, a missed extra point.
I'm telling you.
2 chances for walk-off wins on field goals, and missed.
I've had a lot of disappointment in my life in football games, a ton. None even as close to watching my son in that. If they win that game, they go to the state finals.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're, I can't remember who they're playing, semifinal game, double overtime. All you got to do is just make the extra point. Extra point clinks off of the upright, and they go home. And it was just the worst, most flat ending to a game I've ever seen. And it was like, it just full-on disappointment and heartbreak.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. Time for our weekly conversation with Bronco Mendenhall.
It's time to talk Utah State football with the head coach of the Aggies, Bronco Mendenhall, on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Coach Mendenhall joins us right now. And, Coach, I appreciated the candor when we talked in the post-game show, because there's a lot of people out there that say, okay, well, you got to put this game behind you. You have to flush it away. Losses like this sting, and they're going to stick around a little bit. I guess it just depends on, how you're able to overcome that and handle adversity, because the memory of this one probably won't go away anytime soon.
No, I don't think it goes away ever. There's a few in my coaching career that, have the makings of one like that. But the team had tried so hard throughout the week. They executed so well in practice, carried that and translated to really where they played well enough in what I've kind of been calling like 2 4/5 of the phases, not 3 phases. And one of the areas that we were most confident and had been the best all year in, for whatever reason, didn't hold on that day. And there wasn't a team member or a staff member that expected to walk out of there without the win with 2 seconds to go and kicking a field goal. And then after stopping them in overtime, they missed the field goal. And we just really believed and prepared to win and didn't. And had been working so hard to perform at a really high level on the road and with so much at stake down the stretch. Certainly disappointed, and it hurts, and that's also part of college athletics, and it's part of life, is dealing with that.
It's got to be tough to be a kicker in that moment on the road, really tough. How do you handle Tanner Rinker after that, Coach, and how does the team handle Tanner Rinker, because you're going to really need him here for the next couple weeks?
Yeah, we are. I texted Tanner and basically just reinforced my support, care, and love for him. And I think the three words that I used with him are learn, grow, and become. And that happens through challenges, it happens through setbacks, and it happens through being stretched to the point where, man, you're not sure you can make it. And he's received great support from our team. I was going to address our team performance this morning in the team meeting, which happens at 7 early in the morning. And I asked Tanner to come in prior, just letting him know I was going to be addressing that in the team meeting. Wanted to make sure that he knew that it wasn't personal, nor would I make it that way. But I'm talking about the outcomes, but also operation and things we can do better. And so really just transparency, honesty, decency, treating people with respect, knowing they're trying their very best. It's different if a player or a person isn't trying as hard as they can for the team or themselves to help the team. When they are and they possibly fall short, that's a completely different correction style, and that's this one. There's just respect, there's love, there's diligence. Now there's the focus on what can be improved and what possibly went wrong, and then you just simply move forward. And that would be the same if it was a quarterback, a corner, an offensive tackle struggling in protection, whatever. That just happens to be probably in those settings the most visible position in sport when the game's on the line, and much like a free throw shooter, except probably even bigger stakes.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible for Bryson Barnes to give you more than what he's already given you. He's just gutty, heroic, whatever words you want to use, really encompasses how well this young man's playing right now.
I think both those words are accurate. I don't think I've seen a player that is trying as hard, is giving as much, is getting up from so many hits, is carrying the load, is scrambling, is diving for first downs, scrambles and slides to give us the ball right where we wanted it to kick a field goal to win the game. After a quarterback draw at the 7-minute mark in the fourth quarter to put us ahead, and the number of hits, the amount of shots, I don't know how he continues to just get up off the mat and go, and it's inspiring. Right, I'm the older of the two of us, and he and I, and yet I feel like I learn and grow, and just in the sense of what someone can really accomplish when I watch him and being around him. What a joy to be his coach.
So Bronco, just shaking off this game and getting ready for Fresno State and getting ready for the finish of this season, how do you address the team and make sure that this game doesn't linger? Because I remember, for me, these were tough for me personally, just talking from a personal standpoint, really tough for me to shake off.
Yeah, it's tough for grown-ups too. So I still have residue. I'm shaking, but it's still in there, and so I acknowledge that with the team. It's not going away right now, and it's not going to go away this afternoon. And when we start our walkthrough and Fresno State meetings this evening, it'll still be there, and yet it has to stop there. And so really, to your point, the more we engross ourselves and immerse ourselves in the next opponent, it goes dormant for a while. It doesn't mean it goes away, but it goes dormant because it's overlaid by the next priority, and the priority that gives us our best chance to finish the season the way we want, and to have the exact best chance to play well on the road and against another good team. And so the more it does linger, the more it gets in the way of that. The team knows it. I know it now. Executing against it is just the brutal fact of doing it. And I call it out when I see it in practice. I prepare the team for it. I look for signs in body language. And it's just matter-of-factly taken head-on, no matter how difficult it is.
When you're in the course of a game and you see body language that may be not where it needs to be, how do you address that mid-game?
But really difficult, and rarely does it change mid-game. Just simply encouragement. Now, if it happens to be maybe a few times in my career, there might have been someone disgruntled or angry or whatever. That's a different conversation. That's more emotional. That's more confrontational. That's more correction. Sometimes it's just, possibly sadness or lack of confidence, or someone's a little bit flat. and that's, obviously more encouraging. Rarely does it change in that moment.
Yeah.
There's teachable moments, and you can see them on film or you talk about them after, but rarely does it ever just immediately become fixed if it's happening during a game, in my experience.
Well, this is a really good Fresno State team you're getting ready for, and good quarterback and really good running backs, kind of a two-headed monster. They've got some good wins, beating Oregon State, got the win over Hawaii. They beat up Boise State pretty soundly. They've played a couple of good weeks back-to-back. So Fresno State, couple areas that you got to get ready for taking on the Bulldog this weekend.
Significant change for them offensively. They changed quarterbacks about 4 weeks ago. Focus on the run game increased exponentially. So they're playing a style of football where it's ground game based, supported by really strong defense that's not having to play a lot of snaps but plays physical to match that style. They're playing low scoring games, physical, tough, run, some play action to complement that. But you're really playing a collective style of football where they love contact, they love physical play. And the game against Boise, they beat them 30-7. And usually in the second half is when you see runs start to spurt and go for 40 or 35 or 50 as opponents wear down or just don't have the stomach for the gap integrity needed play in and play out to keep playing that style of football against them. And they're comfortable and confident doing that. But that style has shifted significantly through the course of the year from throwing it in a more balanced approach in the last 3 weeks. They've, I think, just found the identity they want to go down the stretch with to try to win the conference.
You and I, we talked a lot on coaches' shows and after games, and you brought up complimentary football a lot. And I thought in that game against UNLV, when you're playing a really explosive team, I thought your offense put together a few really good, long, time-consuming drives. I think defensively, you held UNLV to long drives that ultimately ended in field goals more often than not. In terms of the complementary football aspect of that game, did that grade out the way that you had hoped to going into it?
It was the best by far of the season, and it was by design. We knew offensively, I'm talking about our offense, we've been dynamic, we've been able to score, but we haven't been able to control a game. And that's really been by third down execution. And so we targeted third down execution at a really high level. That allowed us to control more of the time in between the explosive plays that we have. Defensively, we held UNLV to 23 points. That's the fewest points they've had all year against any opponent. And in 29 total, even in double overtime, which is still fewer than any point total they've had all year. So, again, the plan traveled and was executed and went exactly as we wanted it to, other than just, finishing with the field goals.
Well, Bronco, this team, regardless of the outcome, this team is a pleasure. It's a joy. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to watch because they play with so much heart. I can't imagine you've had teams play with this much heart, win or loss. It just feels like this. It's gritty from going from Olival to Bronson to everybody in between. It just feels like it's a team full of heart.
I love my team. They're tough, they're resilient, and man, do they care for each other. For anyone that didn't see the significant injury we had to Titan Saxon while he's on the ground, and our team comes out in unison and stands around him singing Tongan hymns to a silent stadium as their tribute to a kind of a fallen teammate. It was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever been part of, and not only in my life, but certainly in sport. These kids, they love each other. They're trying like crazy. They want great football here at Utah State. They want to finish the season in a magnificent way, and they want to do their best. So it's just my pleasure, and I certainly feel the responsibility and stewardship to give them their best chance in every possible way, just because of how much they're investing.
His family put out some Instagram reports, and it feels like the news initially seems to be pretty good on Titan.
It is. There's a cognitive function. There's the neurological part is improving in terms of walking and having feeling in legs, arms, and etc. There's some residual in terms of concussions and probably memory loss and things like that from the event, but progress for sure. And just really happy about that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us as always. Look forward to catching up with you again later in the week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks so much. See you. Bye.
There he is, Bronco Mendenhall. Transparent, honest, and I love the fact he's like, you know what? A lot of coaches be like, we got to flush that away. We'll burn the film. We'll move on. And he's like, no, that thing's going to stick around. There's going to be residuals from that. In fact, these guys will go to the grave. You'll have a 20-year reunion with that team, and they'll be like, oh, man, you remember the UNLV game? Like that. Like nobody's forgetting about that game anytime soon. So acknowledge it, admit it, and do your best to learn from it.
It's a gut wrencher. Fresno State's going to be a really tough game. They're playing really good football right now,
especially defensively.
Boise State could be that win you're looking for, and Utah State fans, I just begging you one last time, November 28th, show up because we're talking about bowl eligibility. Now, hopefully they can achieve it this week again on the road against Fresno State. If they can't, then you're talking about a team that's fighting to have a 6-6 record, to be bowl eligible, and to get on the road and have an opportunity to continue to build these players one last time with a couple of extra weeks of preparation and giving Bronco and his staff more time to be around these players. It's actually critical. So get the tickets, be ready to come out, cheer on the Aggies to beat the Boise State Broncos coming up November 28th.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, it's another edition of What You May Have Missed right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes return home for a battle against Kansas State. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. News came down in regards to Elijah Davis. Half game suspension?
Yes.
Half game suspension. I'll take it.
You take it. We thought yesterday on the MAP podcast that for sure we'd be looking at a game. Half game?
Half game.
It's all right.
I'll take it. You get things going against Kansas State, and Utah should certainly beat Kansas State. But taking a full game away from a kid, now, bad move. Really dumb move.
Now, did he make a mistake? Sure.
Yeah. But, I think a half game is payment.
Yeah.
A full game, it's just not. When you're taking 1 of 12 away from a kid, it is a real gut punch. Now, I know it's a dumb mistake. I do think the half game sends the message.
Yeah, I do too. Anytime you keep a player off the field for a quarter, a half, that sends a message not only to him, but a deterrent to other people like, I can't do that. I don't want to lose a half game. You're losing a half game of film for the next level. You want to put out as much out there as you can. And again, as you mentioned, your time as a college football player is so extremely limited.
So, Scotty, I think there's going to be a contingent of people that argue against that, probably Baylor fans mostly, saying that he deserved more. But you really don't know what's going through somebody's head. I say that because I've been in those positions so many different times where maybe a guy is egging me on throughout an entire game and has said a couple of things to me that got under my skin, and the battle's getting nasty. I do want you to understand that when I throw an open hand palm at your face mask while you got a helmet on, I want you to understand, Scotty, I'm sending you a message, but it's not what people think it is. People go really hard at players that throw a fist or an open palm at a face mask. I know when I throw that at your face mask, I know that face mask is going to guard your face.
Yeah.
But it's also sending you a message of, I'm sick of you. I am sick of you. But here's this palm to your face, and I'm hoping your mask kind of bumps you on the chin, and I'm hoping that this rings your ears. But this isn't I'm not pulling a knife on you. I'm not pulling a gun. I'm not punching you square in an unprotected jaw.
Yeah.
I'm just sending you a message. So, and by the way, I'm not here to defend anybody. I'm just here giving you what my take as a football player was when I would hit somebody with an open palm and a face mask, which I did many times in practice. Never did it in a game. Now, I did things in piles.
When you know there's no camera on you.
When I knew there weren't cameras that were nasty and probably worse than open hand popping somebody in a face mask. But it's dumb enough. You deserve a penalty. I think a half-game penalty says everything it needs to say.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Elijah Davis got more from his coaches than he got from his half-game suspension.
Yeah. If you would have done that back in the day and cost yourself a half game, I got to imagine you also had a coaching staff. I don't know, if it's running the stairs at the stadium or what they do to you to try to send a message, but I can't imagine it would be fun.
It would be horrible. I mean, even when you did it in practice during fall camp, when you were just so sick of a fat pig offensive lineman holding your jersey that you just wanted to swing and try to make their face mask hit their nose. But it always ended up hurting your hand more than it hurt anybody.
Yeah.
And then you were always more exhausted from the scrum afterwards. Because remember, Elijah then threw the arm over for a headlock and popped the helmet off the guy and was down on the floor. I guarantee he was exhausted after that whole thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when you headlock Lloyd and then, a lot of us run in there and try to break you up, you're breathing kind of heavy.
And by a lot of you mean none of you.
I'm exhausted and I'm penitent.
Yes.
Okay.
You read the
penitent man.
I've received
the penitent man.
I've received
Neil.
My consequence.
Yeah.
And you guys are disappointed in me, and I learn a lesson from that.
And then we move on.
And then it only happens again 6 months later.
All right, 1 o'clock straight up. Hans and Scotty, you're going to hear from Kalani Sitake straight ahead right here on The Zone.
It's another battle for the Aggies, and the KSL Sports Zone has it covered. The Aggies head to California for a chance to get bowl eligible against Fresno State. Your home for all the play-by-play coverage of Aggie football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We only have one more of these after this week.
This is my go-to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I told you. This is my go-to for karaoke.
Oh, yeah, for karaoke, yeah. Jeremy. Which is interesting because you have a lot of great songs that you can go to, but this fits your voice very well.
Yeah.
Especially how you really like to
get
the
down
grill
there.
down.
Yeah, I do. I like the grill. I like the raspy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Eddie Vedder isn't far away from Neil Diamond with the gravel in the voice.
You know what? I think people in their car might be chuckling right now, but that's actually pretty accurate.
It's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So I could do a good Neil and a good Eddie. Before we jump out to Kalani, explain to me how Alabama gets to stay in the top 10. Florida State is not a good team.
No.
And they've suffered the loss to Florida State.
Yep.
Now, Oklahoma's a decent team, but
they just went to Tuscaloosa and beat them.
What was Oklahoma, 11th?
Yeah.
They weren't in the top 10, were they?
No.
Okay. So you just lose to Oklahoma. You're now an 8-2 team. You're going to keep Alabama in front of BYU after ripping TCU into shreds with big wins, a good win over Utah. Utah's their best win.
Yeah.
How do you make the argument to keep Alabama at 8-2, just losing to Oklahoma? Oh, well, they lost to Texas Tech. Wait a second. Texas Tech was ranked way higher than Oklahoma when BYU lost to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So I want somebody to explain to me. Oh, well, it was a closer game. All right. Well, yeah, fine. I wish BYU showed a little better against Texas Tech, but that was on the road. Alabama had Oklahoma at home. I hope I'm right on that.
Yeah, no, it was in Tuscaloosa.
Alabama had Oklahoma at home.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's one loss that BYU suffered. Alabama lost to Florida State. Florida State is showing that they suck.
They're not that good.
Okay, so you want to make some comparisons? BYU beat Stanford. Who did Stanford beat? Florida State. Florida State beat Alabama. I just look at it, I'm like, come on, man.
You're not wrong.
There's just a lot of biases that sit in there. And look, down the road, somewhere down the road, maybe BYU proves me way wrong and they get blown out by Cincinnati, or they lose to UCF, or they get blown out in the title game. People are like, see, Hans, that's why. Okay, fine. But at the time, right now, in this moment,
Yep.
BYU deserves more respect than being ranked, as everybody's projecting, number 11 as the CFP is coming out tomorrow evening.
All right. Here's Kalani Sitake, head coach of BYU, after the Cougars ratchet up another blowout victory.
Well, back on Monday again, and excited for this week. We're looking forward to the game. Going back on the road, it was good to be home for this game over the weekend against TCU, and love that the team was able to bounce back from the loss that we experienced in Lubbock, and but it was good to be home, play that game in front of our fans, and now that we got a home game done with, it kind of refreshes us and get us ready to get back on the road again and heading out to Eastern time zone and playing a really quality team. Looking at I don't know Scott Satterfield for a while, and he's got a great reputation, does a great job with his team, and they played really, really well this year on film. They're dangerous, and they do some. I mean, they can put some points on you really quickly with Sorsby as a quarterback. He can run the ball, and he can spread the ball out in the pass game, and then they can run the ball with their running backs. And so it's a difficult team to prepare against, but defensively they can make things difficult for you too. And I mean, they got one of my favorite players I like watching, and Dante Corleone. He does a great job up front, and I like his personality. I just like the overall like their team. I like the guys on their team, the leaders that they have, and people that we got to see at the media day and things like that. It's just you hear how they speak, and you hear about the culture and what Scott's doing there, and I just can't help but be impressed with what they're doing as a team. And this is going to be a big time game, man. Looking forward to the matchup. It's going to require us being at our best, and looking forward to it. We see it on film how dangerous they can be, and they're at home, and so there's a lot on riding on these games at the end of the year, especially when you're playing teams that are in the mix that are up there in the rankings when it comes to the standings of our conference. And so we know that, we understand that, and just like playing TCU, they're a great team that has won games and has got themselves ready for bowl games and things like that. So we know that this is going to take our best. We want to create more flow and momentum from last weekend, and looking forward to getting that done starting today with our prep. And so what questions do you guys have for me?
We'll start off with Jake Hatch.
Yeah, Kalani, you mentioned Saturday night. You're not necessarily worried about style points, but you guys have Big Noon Kickoff showing up in Cincinnati. This is the third time I think you've had one of those national TV shows show up for one of your games this year. How much do you think that, spotlight helped you guys when it comes to postseason opportunities and the like, if anything?
Well, when you said it, I know about style points. I know what style points are. I want to win. That's the key. You want to win. And people look at the metrics. I mean, we were favored to win by 3 points, and we won by a lot more than that. So I want to win, and I want to play at our best. And we can control the game, great. But if not, it comes down. Nothing's easy. You can't sit there going like we're going to go into this with trying to win with style. Like I want to win the game first, and so I understand all that stuff. And people running up the score is what style is, and okay, that I understand that whole concept. But I want to win the game first. That's the key, and that's going to be our focus. But you can't sit there and claim the game before you actually play it. You got to play the 60 minutes.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Kalani, you guys were just named the Big 12 Defensive Line of the Week. Your sack totals are way up from last year. What has just gone into developing that unit to be one of the strengths of the team, really? Yeah,
we thought they'd be good. We talked about developing them and getting them where they want to be. A lot of people question it. That's fine. We're playing really good football right now, and we're sitting in a really good spot. So D-line is improving. Everyone's improving. We're staying. We're working on our depth. You're starting to see a lot of the young guys start to step up and understand the scheme a lot more. And when you're doing that and everybody's clicking and doing the simple things right, it comes back to the fundamentals. the guys can do the simple things right and understand their assignments, and they get to play more. And eventually, we'll get them in the right spot. So I'm pleased with the way the guys are working, their belief in themselves and in each other and the system. And when they do that, good things can happen. But, it works hand in hand. The coverage has to be there in order for the pass rush to get there too. So it's usually a good sign if we're getting more sacks and more hurries, probably more disruption. If we can do things like that, then we'll have an opportunity to get interceptions and create some havoc.
Next question from Jake Hatch.
You faced a lot of good quarterbacks this season, Kalani. Where does Brendan Sorsby match up?
Yeah, he's right up there with all of them. I mean, you look at the stats and you can see he can make things really dangerous, and he's really difficult at home. I think we know how that advantage can be, and so when teams come here in the mountains, it's a hard game it's hard for people to figure things out, and I think that's been an advantage for us. We have to go on the road and play at Cincinnati against them, so they can be a different team, and especially when they have a lot to play for. And also this is their senior night, so there's a lot riding on it, and we know he's going to step up. I mean, the great players do it, and so we have to be at our best. That's going to be the key. But he can do all of it, right? He throws the ball, he runs the ball, he does everything right, and we have to figure out a way to disrupt him. That's not easy though.
You mentioned Dante Corleone earlier. What do you just make of their overall team makeup? Because it seems like they're really reliant on Sorsby. What do you make of the overall Bearcat squad?
Yeah, really good roster. You could tell that they have a really good culture in place. I mentioned Scott Satterfield. You could tell that he's done this before and he knows what he's doing. So the guys believe in their coaches. They play really assignment sound football, and so it's not going to be easy, man. There's well coached teams in this league, and then you match that with great talent and great culture. I mean, that's going to be difficult. So nothing's easy. You saw over the weekend how hard it is for guys to get wins, and even with that, the people can get yards on you. They can advance the ball. You have to find ways to gain victories, and usually that comes in disrupting things. And the stat that matters the most is the score. But everybody wants to focus on how you win, but they skip the part of actually getting the win first and securing it.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Kalani, I just wanted to ask, how did you guys come out of the game health-wise? And I think we saw Max Alford, who's been kind of a pleasant surprise this year, limp off the field. But how did you do health-wise? And can you just, what has Max kind of added to the team this year?
Yeah, Max has been really good for us. And then you're creating some quality depth, especially when we lost Che. So Max filled in the position. He's super smart, and we were able to use him when we had some guys get banged up, when Jack and Glasker and Seattle were a little banged up, and nobody's 100% right now. So after the game, we know some guys are still getting evaluated. We'll have probably more information for you on Wednesday, but we got some guys that were kind of banged up a little bit, but we'll be fine. Everybody's in the same situation where everybody's sore, and then there's some people that are because it's at the end of the year, are running on fumes. That's why you have to depend on your depth. And so we've been through this. We've prepped for it. We want all our guys to be ready to go. But if guys aren't able to perform, then the next guy will have to step up and make it work.
Next question from Mitch Harper.
Kalani, LJ Martin said on Saturday that he played with a lot more confidence, working his way back from the injury. When LJ's playing with the confidence that he showed on Saturday, what does that do for this offense as you guys head down the stretch run?
Well, it's good. I think the physical part of the game is what he does, and so I'm not sure if he was ready altogether on when we played Texas Tech. I think maybe we could have benefited from him resting a little bit, but the moment was too big. He wanted to try it, and how can you say no to him? So, and it does make a difference when you get to heal a little bit. I think sometimes people think that the bye week is a magical healing week. You know what I mean? And sometimes things take some a little bit more time to get better, and we've seen that. I mean, we've had guys that have been banged up, and they're playing a lot better now than they did a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. So I think he fits in that same category. But what's really nice about LJ is his leadership and his ability to communicate to his teammates as a captain and as a leader for us.
And then wanted to ask you too, with the college football playoff ring, because I know you've said that you don't get caught up in that, but does it get a little frustrating at all that you're a team that's only one loss and you're sitting behind, a handful of 2 lost teams?
No, when I say I don't really pay attention to it, I know it exists, guys. I'm not dumb. I know all the stuff that's out there. I know what people are saying in the metrics and analytics and the style points and all that stuff. My focus isn't on that. So I understand everything that's out there. I got to be focused on what we can control, which is playing football and the preparation today. That's what I got to focus on. So it's nice that we're in the mix and that people are recognizing what we do, but what does that matter if we don't go 1-0 this weekend? So my focus and what I'm trying to keep the team focused on is the stuff that we can control. I know one thing, we go out there and play at our best and I like our chances, but until then, I'm not going to sit here and campaign and waste my energy on stuff that I can't control. I don't know all the other people's schedule. I can't speak as an expert on everything because I don't know what everybody's done and what everybody's played. All I know is in my view of what I'm controlling with this team and what we have on our schedule, especially this week, that if we take care of business and you to do things one step at a time, then things should work out in your favor. And that's what I'm banking on happening. And that's what I want these guys to be focused on. It's hard to talk about 3 weeks from now when you can't even control what you're doing right now with everybody else. Let's just go play the game, be at our best, and then see what happens next week.
Next question from Jake Hatch.
Kalani, you highlighted him on Saturday night, but I wanted to ask you about your young defensive end guys, Nusi Tamwe Peao, Tosili Akana, Kenny Fonohema. What have they brought to this defensive line?
Yeah, they brought added depth, and athleticism and skill, talent, a lot of that stuff. And then when you have a deep team like that at a lot of different positions, then you can use different people. And when you have upperclassmen that are not selfish and that are bought into what the team is trying to accomplish, they realize that other guys can help them, and that maybe them them tired is not better than the young guys or the backups being fresh. And so what you're seeing is a nice rotation, guys that are trusting each other and then doing it for the greater good of the team rather than just trying to get your personal stats. And so I appreciate all the feel for the team, the brotherhood that they have, and their willingness to share and understand that they don't have to do it all by themselves. And you can do that when you have depth and quality depth. And those guys are still babies, man. These guys are going to get big and stronger. I mean, they're going to be a force. And right now, it's good to see that they have they have an opportunity to contribute. But I think eventually, when they grow up and get bigger, it's going to be pretty scary.
You got another young player in Bear Bachmeyer. You talked about maybe taking the breaks off of him, but are you thinking you want to do more just traditional offense versus some of the max protects you've used in the past? Is that what you're talking about and unleashing him, I guess?
No, I think we've kind of gone through this transition of bringing him along, and now that we're at this position, we can really do whatever we want. Challenged A-Rod, and they understand that was a plan going forward. We knew what we were trying to get done, and by the end of the year, we could do whatever we want depending on what we see as an advantage against who we're playing against. So it's just hard. We can think differently now going into this game 11 than we could back in game 1, even though it was an FCS opponent. So you can kind of just go step by step, and then we're in a position now where we can do whatever we want with him. Mentally, he was already there. He started studying and knew a lot of the other plays. The question is, we can't practice everything. We can only execute what we practice this week. And so let's figure out what we do, what he does best, what he's the most comfortable with, and then what highlights our talent and our skill. And then, let's go into this game pretty much with whatever we want to accomplish. But that's not just game day. That's what we want to accomplish and what we want to prep this week with.
I got one more real quick. And Bronco Mendenhall, not that long ago, was on a radio show saying he's already talked to certain players on his roster about essentially the future, like where their spot is on the roster. Do you have those communications with your players in season about what the future looks like for them?
Yeah, I think the key is creating a vision for everybody, and it's hard to do when you have 120 guys, but eventually you're going to have to get towards the end of the year. And I think there's a moment where everybody understands their individual contribution to the team, and then also their goals and what they want to do individually. So right now we're asking everyone to put the team first, and then we'll discuss what possibilities there are for them individually. But right now we got to buy into what we can do as a team, and eventually we'll get there. But there's conversations happening all over the place, and they're all separate. So like it's not like one conversation covers the entire team. It's all got to be, basically specialized for who that person is and how many years they have left and what they want to get out of this experience that they have in college football.
There you go, Kalani Sitake, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I do know that Kalani's dad suffered a health scare at the game, and I think pre-game it was kind of buzzing in the post-game.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking about you, Papa Sitake. We all love him. He was even a part of my time in college. He was around quite a bit because both Kalani and Kalani's brother TJ played on that BYU team. So Papa Sitake was around a lot.
Yeah.
And I just love that guy. And so we're thinking about you, praying for you, and hoping he's okay.
Absolutely. And, it was funny. Mitch asked him about, well, look, I know you're not paying attention to the college football play. And he's like, all right, look, I know. I just can't worry about it. So they're aware, and you can't isolate your kids. Like, you can't say, don't pay attention to that stuff because they're going to. Like, it's just human nature. If you're a 19, 20, 21-year-old kid and you're nationally ranked and you're being talked about with Alabama and Oklahoma and all these other schools, you're going to consume that content.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't bury your head in the sand and pretend like nobody is talking, that nothing's going on. So
They know,
and they're going to address it, but they still have to focus in on the one game at a week mentality.
Kalani knows about style points, too. I just don't think Kalani cares about style points.
Because that part he kind of has to, though.
If he did, he would have put his first-string defense back on the field when TC was pressuring.
Yeah.
Now, he left his second and third string out there, and they answered the call. The fans answered the call because there were consecutive offside penalties that put them in 4th and long, and then Nusi Taumapeu, who's a true freshman, answered the call with a good sack that ended the TCU drive, but they were in scoring territory. They could have kicked a field goal, but 3 points would have meant nothing. I still don't know why they were taking timeouts and why they were trying to continue a drive that ended up with a sack, but nonetheless, they did, and Kalani trusted his second and thirders. But if they would have gotten in for a touchdown, and it would have been 44-20,
yeah,
it's not as pretty.
No, not as pretty at all, unfortunately. All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, the good, the bad, the ugly. Oh, we have some stuff to talk about coming up next.
Oh, uh-oh.
Hey, no, I got the good.
Okay.
Let's just say that. I got plenty of good to talk about.
I got a bad in there.
Oh, no.
The bad is just mediocre.
Yeah. All right. Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It is your good, it is your bad, it is your ugly. And let's just take a moment and bask in the greatness of good quality football. And Hans and you and I, Lloyd, I don't know what you're getting ready to push over there, but knock it off.
Don't.
I see you got your finger on a button.
Let him have his time, Lloyd.
It's my time down here. It's your time up there, but it's my time down here.
Let him have his time, Lloyd. Be fair.
I don't know what you're pushing down there.
I don't even know what this segment's about. What's the good about?
Why are you ducking your head?
Yeah, you got something queued up and ready to go.
This segment's about actual good football.
Good football. And you and I texted, that was, regardless of who won that game, that was a quality football game between the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Darn right.
What a shot! 3 more rounds. We go to the series. So what? They'll blow in the 9th.
Why do you got to do that? This is his time.
It's my time. I get to enjoy this.
Lloyd, after
What? They'll blow it in the playoffs.
And that might.
Lloyd, this is not right. What you're
You know-
Game's over. I don't even know why we're watching this.
Okay, that's called a reverse jinx, Lloyd.
Lloyd, I don't know why.
Game's over. It's over. They're losing. Game over.
I did call that they were going to lose.
With
on Twitter.
9 minutes left in the game, he's like, "This is it. They're down
You did?
3.
Yeah.
Why'd
Down
you do
3."
that?
Oh, because they they had to punt and I'm like, you know, they were going to go for it on 4th and 2. They got the false start, backed them up 7. They punted. I'm like, there's no way they're going to stop Mahomes in a situation like this. Mahomes is going to go down, score a touchdown. It's going to be a 2-score game. This game's over.
Game over. Why am I
No,
watching?
Scotty, no.
Hey, there's a reason why I do what I do, because I know people love to rip on me for bad predictions. And so I'm like, what can I do to give a little goodwill for the Broncos? Give a bad prediction on Twitter, and then I'll take the heat afterwards, but it means the Broncos won. Either I'm right.
Hey, my personal favorite is you going refs. I like that one. That one was funny.
Well, okay,
That one's good.
All right, we got to talk about this. And I guess we can't talk about
No, we can't
this.
talk about that.
But you know,
I know what you're
They'll
talking
blow
about.
it in the playoffs.
you know what I'm referencing.
Yeah, I know what you're referencing. We just can't reference it.
Somebody's getting singled out, and it's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, apparently there's this bad missed call on the Broncos. Rusty comes walking in, and first off, he doesn't even talk to me. He goes right into his office. Our resident,
That was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen you make.
our
by the
resident
way.
Chiefs fan. And so I'm like, oh, you don't want to talk today, huh? It's been all fun and games for 9 years, and now you don't want to talk. But no, Chiefs fan comes up, and he's like, all right, well, 2 things. First off, and I'm like, if you say officiating after the Broncos got called for 150 yards of penalty yards in that game, I don't want to hear it.
He went officiating. Yeah, he did. He did not like a no call. Couple things. Bo Nix, really solid, good focus when you've got to get yourself in field goal position to win that game. Couple of big completions, but I like his connections to Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Cortland Sutton, all those guys. Great connections. They find the space, and the throw that he had in that final drive to the inside shoulder on a deep corner to allow his receiver to work back into it, knowing that the defender had outside leverage, was an incredible throw. That was an incredible throw. You had 2 safeties over the top. He threw it underneath the safety, threw it to the inside off outside leverage to the corner, and that's a great completion. And they earned that field goal, and they earned that win, 22-19. Good win over the Chiefs.
That defense, though, oof.
It's a really good defense.
And they're without Pat Surtain. They're without Alex Singleton. They're missing some big guns on that defense. But from a play calling standpoint, you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League.
Mm-hmm. And the refs.
And you bring a
Lloyd, you're such a dirtbag.
You bring a corner blitz on 3rd and 10. A corner blitz on 3rd and 10.
Yeah,
That's like
Jaquan McMillan.
That's some big ones there.
Jaquan McMillan is a beast too. Fast as lightning, and he's good. He's good, and it was a great call.
Can we talk about the disgust that Sean Payton has in Bo Nix?
Disgust?
Yeah.
Why?
The disgust when he made the mistake of the intentional grounding. Did you see the look on his face?
You're really nitpicking here.
No.
You're really digging
No,
deep.
I'm not. I don't think.
Like, I have a bad segment and you have a disgust look on your face, but that doesn't mean that you think ill will of me.
Yeah, that you're always disgusted.
That's not true.
No, that's fine. It's all right. If we have a bad,
when have you had a bad segment?
If we have a bad moment and you're like, and like there was a thing a couple weeks ago I did, and you gave me a very disapproving look. And I'm like, you know what, Lloyd's got a point, but that doesn't mean you hate me. That doesn't mean like you think I'm horrible at my job.
It just means in that moment,
or does it?
It just thinks in that moment you need to fix yourself.
Yeah. It's all right.
Hey, by the way, protect the Will Lutz at all costs, because that 5 of 5, including the game winner. How long was that game winner?
It was like a 35-yard field goal.
35-yarder?
Yeah.
Still took guts, man.
Yeah, but he hit a 54-yarder earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Broncos now sit at 9-2. Is the Chiefs dynasty? Is it done?
Yeah, they're cooked. They're done. mustered 62 yards of rushing against that Broncos defense.
And Denver's not a great defense against the run. They just abandoned it.
Who had the big drop for Kansas City? Somebody had a big drop. Was it Rice? I think it was Rashee Rice.
I think it was Rice, yeah.
Had a big drop for a first down. Hit him right in the hands.
Yeah. We're on that far sideline.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I think it was Rashee. Kansas City just looks cooked. They might not make it to the postseason.
I know. 5-5. They're not going to win the division now.
They're out of the division race, but listen, they've got the Colts next week.
Yeah.
They've got Chargers, Broncos, then they've got Titans, Raiders, Texans. Down the stretch, they're going to go, 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4. They'll go 3-4 to finish.
Then they're done. There's no way you're making the playoffs at that point.
They're going to go 3-4 to finish.
Yeah,
that'll put them
sub 500,
8-9.
Yeah, that's like Raiders territory right there.
They're busted. Taylor Swift, take off that T-shirt before you jinx them and break up the band, Taylor.
Oh, she Yoko Ono, the Chiefs.
She did. This thing, the wheels are off. I mean, back-to-back losses to the Bills and the Broncos. You lost to the Jags. Started out the season losing to the Chargers and the Eagles.
Turn out the lights. Party's over.
Sorry, Chiefs
fans. That doesn't break my heart. Come on, Lloyd. At least you can get behind that, right?
No, that doesn't break my heart. I'm fine with that.
Hey, and
you got your game. Both of you got the Raiders and Cowboys now.
My boys versus his Raiders.
You've already left the bandwagon, so don't be.
I said my boys.
His Cowboys.
Oh, you're a Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a Cowboys guy.
Great.
I know they're not.
That's where you.
I don't bandwagon chase. I just look for
interesting
you
bandwagon chase. Come on.
You can't cook Scotty and both me in the same segment.
You do. You're like the biggest bandwagon guy I know. Are you kidding me?
He's been a lifelong Cowboys fan. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop.
I've been a boys fan since Leon Lett.
Yeah.
Leon Lett's where you grabbed? Gosh. Okay.
Alvin Harper.
The cocaine cowboy himself.
Cocaine cowboy.
Hold on, we got a lot to get to here.
All right, let's get to it. There's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
Well, Shedeur Sanders in his debut. Not so good, Scotty.
All he needed was a chance. The Browns were holding him back. They weren't giving him an opportunity. Well, he got his chance.
The Cleveland Browns led by 6 points at the half, and Dylan Gabriel goes out. So Shedeur Sanders takes to the field and goes 4 of 16 for 47 yards and gives up the lead and gives up the loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Also takes a couple of sacks. By the way, Shedeur Sanders continues to get sacked by the BYU Cougars because Kyle Van Noy comes up with a big sack and a big game-changing moment, and they lose 23-16. But Shedeur looked pretty miserable and had some excuses after the game.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Said, well, these are the first times that I've had an opportunity to throw to a couple of these wide receivers. He's like, this week in practice, we need to really focus, and I get some timing on with these guys. But it's already been announced that if Dylan Gabriel passes concussion protocol through the week, that he's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yes, as he should be. It's always somebody else's fault.
And by the way, nobody's rooting against Shedeur Sanders. Nobody. If he goes on and he's great, like his dad was great, that's fine. I think everybody's just tired of the nepotism.
Yeah.
His name being on the side of a stadium is wild. Now, the recognition of him falling to the 5th round is like, okay, even the NFL scouts saw it, but the Browns did take a shot on him in the 5th round, but everybody was like, well, but why?
Yeah. When you're an NFL scout and your job depends on hitting on draft picks, you're not going to get roped into, well, he's Deion Sanders' kid. It's like, no. Can he play or not? Not really. Okay, then we're not taking him. All right, fine. 5th round, we'll take a flyer on him at this point. But we're not spending a, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round pick on the guy. And look, these NFL scouts, they don't mess around. Okay, they don't buy into storylines. They don't buy into family lineage or anything like that. Can you play? All right, then let's get you. Can you not play? No, not worth it.
Yeah, and I think the Browns got I think they got tricked.
They got hoodwinked in the fifth. But,
I got pulled into it.
I'm okay taking a flyer on a guy in the fifth. But there's,
Yeah, if this was happening, if they would have taken him at Gabriel's spot. Was Gabriel second?
I think so, yeah.
Second rounder?
Yeah.
I think he was. If they would have taken Shedeur instead of Gabriel,
now
this is happening. Now everybody's going to be looking at the scout. But I don't think we'll ever see Shedeur have meaningful minutes in an NFL football game.
All right, there's your bad. Let's get to the ugly.
The ugly.
It's a bad deal here.
Yeah, it's scary. New York Jets cornerback Chris Boyd is clinging to life after being shot in New York City early yesterday morning. NYPD says the gunfire erupted about 2 o'clock in the morning, just blocks away from Times Square. Officers arrived. They found the 29-year-old cornerback collapsed on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound to his abdomen. I was just checking any updates. There is video of the shooting. They've got a very clear image of the person that shot him. They're going to find him. Hopefully they arrest him, and hopefully Chris Boyd is able to pull out of critical condition.
Oh, boy.
But there's video of the shooting, and apparently it was a big scrum and scrap, and 2 gunshots rang out, and one of them happened to hit Boyd right in his abdomen. And when you get gut shot, it allows a lot of different bile to release into the body. It's a miserable
way to go.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible, because your body just fills with infection. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. And in today's world, Scotty, being a bigger guy, you have to understand nobody's going to fight you fair.
No.
Nobody will ever fight you fair.
Yeah.
It's something I've tried to really express to my son, who's 6'7", 325 pounds. You got to just be as humble as anybody else in the room, because you don't know who's got what. And you go walking around like a rooster, and the smaller person in the building wants to challenge you. It's not because he thinks he can beat you one-on-one. It's because he's packing.
Yeah.
Or he's got something that separates you from him.
Because the pride is still there. You don't want to be shown up by somebody, and yet in a fair fight you'll get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's sad, man. I mean, Sunday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday.
And nothing good happens at 2 a.m.
And that's when these things are typically happening. But have you seen the video?
I have not seen it. I didn't know there was video. I saw the story. I didn't know there was video out there.
Video was just released about an hour ago. So hasn't been that long.
Oh, man.
But the video is out, and kind of a rough deal. But the good thing is they've got a really clear image, and I'm showing Scotty the video right now. It's all a big brawl around a taxi cab, and as the fight is going, the gunshots ring out. But they've got, and let me see if I can find the image. There's the image right there of the guy that shot him.
Yeah.
They've got what he's dressed in. He's got pretty long dreads. He's got kind of a recognizable nose and chin and eyes. I mean, you can see it all in that picture. They're going to find him.
Oh, yeah. No, they'll track that guy down, especially when you got the power of the NFL behind you.
See, look at this picture.
Oh, yeah. That's an even better picture right there. Yeah, no, that guy's going to be picked up real quick.
So what do you get charged with? Probably illegal possession.
Yeah.
Attempted murder.
Yep.
Now this was in New York.
Oh yeah. So no,
heavy gun laws in New York.
Yeah, is the gun registered? Probably. I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. So you got that charge. Like the dude.
At least 20 years, right?
And it depends on what happens. If Boyd passes away, then it's going to escalate even further.
That's true.
Then he'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, because last I checked, he's in critical condition.
Yeah.
They're hoping he pulls through.
All right, 150 coming up next. Another edition of Whole World News right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Go! It's time to span the globe for the hard-hitting news you care about. Well, not really. But hey, at least we found it interesting. This is Whole World News on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We've got the whole world in our hands.
You got the whole
Olson, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, we're going to be hanging out at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown, where it all began. Tyler and the crew ready to help make it happen for you. Come down and say hi. We'll be down there again, just in between, just west of I-15, between the 106th and 112th exit. Real easy to find. All right, Hans, I'm really curious. We've known each other for 20 years. Mm-hmm. We've done the show together for 12. I'd like to think I know you pretty well. I'm not exactly sure where you are at in terms of the holiday spirit when it comes to Christmas.
Okay, I've got an opinion on it.
All right. So, are you a early Christmas music or late Christmas music guy?
Late.
Okay, so post-Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
How about decorations?
Late.
Late. Okay.
If any.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I would have pegged you as the kind of the festive, let's decorate the house, let's go all out, Clark Griswold kind of thing.
I'm trying to do better, and I tried for my kids because my mom made it a magical season for me.
Yeah.
And I always appreciated that. As a dad, I didn't want to spend money on decorations. I didn't want to put time into decorations, and I always felt like it cluttered the house. But I also knew that it drew the magic of Christmas. If it was up to me, no decorations. I'd have a tree. I'd put a couple of, important ornaments on it.
Yeah.
My wife likes to decorate a tree to look good.
Yeah.
I want to decorate a tree that has, sentimental ornaments on it.
Okay. All right. All right. So now let's talk about the tree. Fake or live?
Live.
Oh, that's right. You, JP, you and JP go up and cut a tree.
If I have my druthers, I want a live Christmas tree.
All right. Well, apparently there's an association for everything. The American Christmas Tree Association released results of a new survey, and this has certainly been a trend. About 15 years ago, your live to fake tree ratio was about 50-50.
That's where we're at now.
No, that was about 15 years ago.
Oh.
Now, 83% of households have a fake tree. Only 17% of American households will actually have a live tree for Christmas, which makes sense. I mean, I haven't had a live tree in forever. We started growing up as a kid. We had a live tree up until probably I was 10 or 11, and then it was a fake tree ever since.
So I want to make this really clear. If I had to pay for a real tree nowadays, I would have a fake tree.
And spend, $80, $100 and then not have to worry about it for 10 years.
But bless J.P. Stoddard's heart, his family owns a lot of different acreage up in the mountains, and they can go chop down trees all they want. And he just cuts one down for me. He has for the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
So, and the trees smell great.
Oh, I love the tree smell.
And he always gets beautiful trees. I've got a 15-foot ceiling, so he gets a beautiful 15-footer, and he just picks out the best Christmas trees ever. If I had to pay for that tree, that's a $450 tree.
Easy, yeah.
Why do you throw your ceiling size in our
faces?
I
know that was a nice little
that's kind of gross.
I was going to wait a little bit to bring that up, but that was a very subtle flex. Yeah,
I have a 15-foot ceiling. Jeez, man.
So my vaulted ceilings can handle a very large Christmas tree.
That was such a gross flex. It was gross.
Lloyd, I've been in your house. Okay? You've got 15-foot ceilings in your basement.
Oh, you mean from the basement to the very top?
No,
that's 15 feet exactly.
Lloyd's mother-in-law apartment has
15-foot ceilings.
Oh my Lord, you're a funny one.
No, that's true.
83% though. Look, I am all about the fake Christmas tree, but for some reason that kind of bums me out a little bit. I want my fake tree, but I want everybody else to have a live tree.
Do you do lights on the house?
No. I have put my foot down on that one. I will not do it, and I refuse to do it because I don't want to die. And I don't like climbing on roofs. I did it a couple times in our first house because I'm like, oh, I'm a homeowner now. Look what I get to do. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Dude.
And my wife, it breaks her heart, and I feel so bad about it.
You've got somebody that would do it for you.
Who?
Ajay. Ajay would do it.
Oh, he would.
Come on.
He'd say, boss.
Hey, Ajay.
Situational Christmas lighting.
Ajay's the man, dude.
Ajay would be on your roof.
Yeah. Situational lighting.
Dude, he would be on your roof like Clark Griswold so fast.
Ajay, do our guy a solid. He needs you.
I promise you, he'd back his van into your house.
I know that's it.
Oh,
he would bust
not.
a hole in the roof.
He
would short circuit the lights and start your house on fire.
You know what? You are not giving Ajay enough credit.
You know what?
Ajay's come a long way.
Ajay has come a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ajay is killing it for us this year. He's had a great year. By the way, I can't bring myself to pay for people to do the lights, and I don't want to do it. It's a sore spot, and I feel really bad about it, but I'm not bending on it.
Hey,
I make my brother-in-law do it. I don't get on the roof. I won't do it.
Hey, by the way, if you're a business out there and you do install Christmas lights in Utah County, send me a tweet at 975Hans.
Or Davis County.
Or Davis County for Scotty. I'd love to use your business because I am looking to do the Christmas lights. I will not do it myself. I am afraid of heights. I am 40. I don't want to put myself at risk. I love my health.
We almost lost Dave Fox due to a Christmas decoration thing.
One of my best friends, his dad fell off the roof putting up Christmas lights and died.
Yeah.
And you know him. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
I'll tell you in the break.
Okay.
But yeah, his dad fell off the ladder and down into the stairwell.
Oh.
So I'm not messing with that. But if you do have a business putting up lights at 975Hans, let us know. I'll put you in touch with Scotty.
Yeah.
And we'll get you working. Because I do want lights on my house. And my mom wants Christmas lights. So, because she's got the house, much bigger house than mine, up on the hill that they shadow me.
You're going to see Clark on a ladder, and you're like, oh, crap, now I've got to do it. And you're like, get off the ladder, Dad. I'll handle it.
My dad has been naughty lately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's been out with all his trimming to it because he loves to prune trees.
Yeah.
And so he's a tree sculptor. He's essentially Mr. Miyagi, but with actual full-size trees. And he gets out there with his chainsaws and his cutters, and you're like, oh, no. He's still clicking away.
I love it. All right, Hans and Scotty, you're going to hear from Kalani Sitake, Kyle Whittingham coming up next right here on The Zone.
Let's go! Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Woo!
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're having a good Monday. So many good things to break down. You heard from Kalani Sitake earlier in the show. You heard from Bronco Mendenhall earlier in the show. Well, Hans, blowout victories coming down the stretch. You feeling an all right, or is it an okay day?
It's going to be an okay. I think it's going to be a good, solid okay.
It's all about that business.
He's hit us with, is it one or two all rights?
Just one.
One all right. I think we're going to get just a nice, calm, cool okay. That was another big blowout win.
Again, Kyle Whittingham always starts his press conferences with either okay or all right. I think we're both in agreement on this one. It feels like an okay day for Kyle Whittingham.
Good to go? Okay. A little bit about the Baylor game. First of all, I thought we did some good things. A lot of explosive plays on offense. Bird Ficklin obviously came in the game and gave us some spark and some, really ran the football exceptionally well. He only carried it, I think it was 6 times, but about 165 yards. So he was a bright spot for us. Wayshawn Parker goes over 100 yards again and really is continuing to separate himself in the backfield from other guys and doing a good job. Not a lot in the throw game, didn't need to. We were committed to the run in this game and ended up piling up almost 400 yards of offense, rushing offense. So a lot of good things. Offensively. Offensive line played well again. That's been a theme the entire season. Defensively, certainly gave up more points and yards than you'd like, but scored a touchdown, set up another touchdown with a pick six and an interception. I think it ended up inside the 10-yard line. So good stuff there. Baylor, as I mentioned, going into the game, outstanding receiving corps, and feel no different after the game. That's the best receiving corps that we've played, and the quarterback is really good from the pocket. They threw for a ton of yards, 400 plus, but we were able to come away with a victory. Special teams, kind of a non-factor. Not a lot going on special teams-wise with either side, and so that was good to get the win. They're, like I said, they got some good players. They got size, athleticism, and speed and length and all that. So they were certainly a team that until we started to separate there in the second half, it was a pretty competitive game. Coming up this week, Kansas State back home, final home game of the year, senior day. So we get to recognize our seniors, and it's a good kickoff time, 2 o'clock. So we like that. A little bit of a roll here. We got some momentum going into this game, and got to try to hang on to that. All starts with a great week of preparation. It starts today with that, and we're in pretty good health. We'll find out as the week goes on. With some guys that might be a little questionable, but for where we are in the big picture, health-wise, got no complaints this time of the year. So, questions?
This is from Dressed It says great win Saturday with about 400 yards passing given up in the last game. What's your plan to tighten the screws for this week's game?
Yeah, well, like I said, going in, they're a talented receiving corps. We expected them to. They've been throwing for over 300 a week all season long, and so it wasn't a surprise that we were tested deep. In fact, gosh, it must have been 15 fade balls thrown in that game, 50 balls at least. I mean, it was one after another, and so we needed to make a few more plays than we did. There's no doubt about that. But we've been good in pass coverage all season long. We're still amongst the leaders in the conference in both pass yardage given up and pass defense efficiency. And so just got to keep working at it. We'll miss Scooby, obviously, the first half of this game, which is not ideal for us. He's been a very consistent player for us this year, so that'll give other guys opportunity, though. So that's it.
On Saturday night, you had talked about how Devin has just been banged up enough.
Yeah.
It's still questionable each week. Is there a situation where Bird starts this game or the last game, or kind of where do you kind of see that? Is it still just kind of up in the air? Day
by day is what we're taking it, and that's the best answer I can give you. If I knew any more than that, I would share most of that with you, or some of that. But it's just a situation where Devin. There's a lot of physicality in his game, with all the runs he does, and scrambling from the pocket, in addition to the design QB runs. So he takes some physical. It takes a physical toll on him, but he's a tough kid. He loves it. He's not. He loves running the football, and he's been effective at it. So we'll just see what happens. But certainly there is a scenario where you could see Bird. I'm sure of that, but we'll see.
You guys have blown out teams in each of your wins.
Mm-hmm.
Are style points kind of a consideration for you guys with the college football playoff?
No, I don't believe in humiliating anybody or trying to run up the score. When you're playing a throw team like Baylor, no score. You got to have a 4-score lead to be safe, because they throw the ball so effective they can strike from anywhere, and so that's a little different than if you're playing a team that is a run-oriented team and you get up a few scores. But no, to answer your question, I don't subscribe to that. We don't subscribe to that. There's been games this year where we certainly could have piled on more points, but I just don't think it's not who we are. Yeah.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, PK.
Now, I know you're going to say your focus is on Kansas State.
Absolutely, 100%, and nothing else matters.
You don't even know that it's your birthday this week, because it's all...
Stop. I can't believe you said that. Okay.
But I'm going to ask you this question anyway. The way your team is playing right now, which obviously is at an extremely high level, do you think right now that it is playoff worthy?
You know what? We're going to take things one game at a time, PK, and see if we can see how we do against Kansas State. But I'll tell you right now that this team has a lot of confidence. We've got a lot of momentum going right now. The leadership is outstanding, and we think we're playing good football. Is it good enough? We'll find out. We got to take care of our business first, starting with this week. And when the dust settles and the regular season's over, we'll see where we're at and what kind of opportunities are there.
You'd mentioned that Devin in that situation sort of day-to-day, obviously with him just being hampered with the injury. Is there any scenario this season where you shut him down just because, you're worried about his long-term health or is the injury, I guess, severe enough for it to render him just shut down for the season?
No, and we would, that's not my decision, obviously. That would be a medical decision. And so you're asking, going forward, are we going to shut him down? Or
is there any scenario where that happens? Is his injury severe enough in that case?
As it stands right now, no. No, as it stands right now. But you got to be able to function and be, he gets pretty sore and pretty beat up, as I mentioned. And so, but no, we don't feel that he's been put in harm's way any more than the next guy as far as long-term and that type of thing.
Kyle, after the game, you mentioned that Devin, his mastery of the offense and just his experience in the offense is what led to the decision to keep him out there. But how do you balance that versus how he's performing, how he's executing in terms of how, playing him, I guess? Yeah,
well, it's all in the equation, during it's game by game and within the game itself. When we feel that the game is out of reach, then we've tried to get him out in those situations, and we've supplemented him, as you noticed, throughout the game with Bird. Sometimes they're in there. A lot of the time they're in there both at the same time, but Devin doesn't have a lot of a role when Bird is at the quarterback. He was more of a guy that just is window dressing out there. But we just rely on the medical staff to help with those decisions, and as long as they say he's good to go and he says he's good to go, then we just try to do things as intelligently as we can, and like I said, when the game seems to be in the bag, so to speak, then we try to get him out of there.
Kyle, at the beginning of the season, you said that this could be the greatest offensive line you've ever had. 10 games in, have they met expectations?
100%.
Ask them?
100%. They're surpassed
expectations?
I would say as advertised, exactly what we expected, and if anything, maybe even better than we expected. We're second in the nation in rushing the football, and that's a real good indicator of the physicality and the talent level of your front.
And then, did you happen to see the catch that went viral by a certain player that will go nameless?
Certain high school player?
A certain high school player at Rice Cycle Stadium?
Absolutely. That was very impressive for that, whoever that guy was. And it's as good a play as I've ever seen at any level. I don't think I can get in trouble for saying that, because we still don't know who the guy is. But anyway, yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Kyle, I kind of wanted to ask you a big picture question. I know you mentioned you're focused on Kansas State, but it seems like you have two starting caliber quarterbacks on your roster, and you obviously view them very highly. There's been scenarios in the past where teams like Texas have had Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning on their roster long term. Given just the way the offseason goes, is there a scenario where you can see Bird and Devin staying on the roster next season together, just given the circumstances of how the portal is and all that?
We sure hope so, and that's remains to be seen, and we'll, that will be addressed. Obviously, they've tweaked the recruiting a little bit now in the dead periods, where December is now completely a dead period, and the portal does not open until January now, and so you have a little more time after the regular season to sort those things out than before. Before, you'd have to start those conversations now with a lot of your players as far as what their plans are and that type of thing. But with what Bird's done this year and what Devin's done for that matter, we're going to have to really step up to hang on to those guys, and that's really an administrative thing, it's not in my court. That's what kind of resources we can come up with to keep the roster together, and it'd be interesting to do the study. My guess is if you took a study of Power 4 football rosters, the $25 million rosters, the 20, and with the average win-loss record, it would just follow suit exactly with the resources available. So yeah, everyone's trying to step up in that regard.
Who's the better thrower between the two?
You know, Devin, they have different styles. Devin gets the ball out extremely quick. He's got a quick release. He's able to go through the progressions a little quicker than Bird because he's so familiar with them. Bird maybe has a little more zip on the ball, a tad more accuracy at times, but they're different types of throwers from the pocket, and they're both outstanding, but just different. So I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. They both do it their way.
Good time for more, Sammy.
Jason Stokes Jr. only played 13 snaps on Saturday, but he had that good pass breakup. What have you seen from his development that you know has given you guys confidence to put a true freshman out there versus some of these pass-heavy teams? Yeah,
well, he's progressed ever since he got here. You know, we obviously liked him out of high school, or we wouldn't have recruited him. We thought he had some real upside, and you're right, he made a really nice play in the game on Saturday, and it was an opportunity to put him in the game when we got to what was it, 49-20, I think, is where we felt the game was pretty much out of reach, and gave him some opportunity, and a lot of that was Scooby, going out early, that gave us an opportunity to put other guys in, and then Jason was next in line, and so that it was kind of a chain reaction. But I can tell you right now, we have a lot of confidence in Jason, and he's a guy that, as I mentioned, has really gotten better week by week and works hard and has great attitude. And Sharif, Coach Shaw just thought it was time for him to maybe get some game action and show what he can do.
There you go. Kyle Whittingham right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A lot of interesting comments there from Kyle in terms of the likelihood of Devin Dampier and Bert Ficklin both being on the roster next year. And unfortunately, that's the world we're living in right now, where Bert Ficklin isn't going to see a lot of time, but people are already have seen what he's capable of doing. So you're darn right, he's going to have a lot of people lining up for his services in the offseason. And Kyle's like, look, we want to keep both of them, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep them, but obviously they're going to command a lot, both of them. So I just, you'd love to see a world where Devin Dampier can finish out next year and then Bert Ficklin's next man up and off you go. But if I'm Bert Ficklin, not only do you want to get paid, but you want an opportunity. You don't want to be the number 2 Wildcat guy coming off the bench. You want to run your own program. You want to be the guy. So Utah can offer one of those, probably a hefty payday, but they're not going to be able to offer both if Devin Dampier comes back.
And, there is one other quarterback in the equation, and that's Isaac Wilson.
Yeah.
Isaac's got 3 years of eligibility, and he's a very good quarterback. So I'm sure he's looking at the writing on the wall and saying, well, everybody's fighting over these two.
Yeah.
Well, what am I going to do?
Exactly.
And I still think he's a good ball player. I think he could be great for anybody out there. So hopefully Isaac Wilson can find a good landing spot. Hopefully Utah can manage Bird and Devin Dampier. You're going to have to come up with a creative game plan for both of them.
And if I'm Devin Dampier, I'm like, well, I understand what we're doing right now, but look, I want to be the guy. I want to be out there all the plays. I don't want to split time in any ratio whatsoever. He's a competitor. So, I can see both of them being like, I want to be the guy, and Bert Ficklin wants to be the guy. And I don't think this will ultimately come down to money because if Utah wants to pay somebody, they'll find a way to pay him. But the question is, you can't offer all the playing time to Bert Ficklin.
The perfect scenario would be, if I could, convince Bird, hey, look, it's your sophomore year coming up. Devin Dampier's got 1 year left. You're going to have the reins for 2 years. In this upcoming year, let's put some good Wildcat in. Let's put some, good packages in where you and Devin can get us to a Big 12 championship and take us to the heights because we need you both. And then 2 years following Devin Dampier, it's all yours.
Yeah.
The whole world is yours. And in the meantime, we're compensating you very healthily. And we're going to make you very happy and very famous here. I don't know. You got to come up with some type of true recruiting pitch to let them know it's 1 year. Devin Dampierre's got 1 year. You still got 3. So let's manage this so that you're happy, we're happy, and we're all winning together.
Yeah. And
you don't want to lose that time.
And you look, Devin, what are the chances he plays all 12 games next year? Probably not great. Like, we're going to need you.
Yeah.
All right. But Bird's over there like, well, I got this Lloyd Cole guy who's telling me that I need to be making the jump to the NFL like right now. So I don't know what I need to be doing.
Lloyd's.
I like
trying to figure out how to keep Bird in the state.
Yeah. All right, Hans and Scotty. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A little sports roulette coming up next right here on The Zone.
The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of Sports Roulette. As we take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel, we spin it. Wherever that little ball lands is what we end up talking about. So let's get it. Lloyd, fire up that wheel.
We need to start talking about this guy.
All right, Scotty.
Do we?
Don't look now, because the Utah Jazz are 2-1 in the last 3. And Lauri Markkanen is averaging 31 points a game.
Yes, he is. First Jazz player since Adrian Dantley to average 30 points a game in the first, 14 games of the year?
First 14 games. So here's what we're looking at. Lauri Markkanen has point totals of 33 against Sacramento, 51 against Phoenix, 32 against Portland, 33 against Phoenix again, 29 against Charlotte, 35 against Indiana, 40 last Thursday against Atlanta, and then 47 last night in a double overtime performance against the Chicago Bulls. But he's got multiple 40-point performances. He's got a 50-plus point performance. And Lauri Markkanen is playing at an all-star pace. And he is dragging the Jazz to wins.
I love it. I don't love it in terms of draft picks for next year, but the dude's an all-star playing at a crazy all-star level. And he and then the flashes you're seeing from Keontae George and Ace Bailey make the Jazz not quite the pushover that they were last year.
Yep. And, Isaiah Collier continues to be a stud as he's now back on the court. He's led the Jazz 3 out of 4 games in assists. He's got double-digit assist nights. Like, that guy is coming along. Nurkic continues to ball out. He plays his butt off every night. This goes back to the comments that, was it Austin Ainge or was it Ryan Smith that said, this year we'll be playing different lineups, but nobody is going to be playing less than full speed.
Correct. That was, I
can't remember who it was that
I
said
think
it.
Austin was the first one to say it at his introductory press conference, and then everybody else has piled on since.
Yeah.
And, look, if you went to that game yesterday, double overtime, incredible game, you could not be not entertained from that one. This is what you wanted to see. Because the Jazz last year, they lost games. It's one thing to lose, and then it's another thing to just look bleh. There was a lot of bleh last year. This team, they're not going to win a ton of games. They're not going to be a playoff team. But they are going to be far more entertaining to watch this year than they were last year. All right, Lloyd, spin it.
Nobody cares about safety anymore.
No, especially the NBA officials. Hands yesterday, Jazz and Bulls going back and forth down the stretch of the game. Jazz down by 2, 114 to 112, and all of a sudden, whistle gets blown. And the officials award free throws to Chicago. Why? Because a towel boy went out to clean the floor of sweat without being told to do so by the officials. That's a delay of game penalty against the Jazz.
Mark just turns and walks away. So the violation is what? Delay of game?
I could read those lips. He did not agree with the call. Let me say that.
So that's Will Hardy in the background. You hearing yelling, and he said some words, and he was frustrated because the ball boy is out there underneath the standard. He sees some guy hit the floor. He sees a wet floor, and his job is to like, hey, I don't want anybody slipping on my watch. He goes out there, starts wiping the floor. Apparently the rule is that the official has to tell you to do it before you're allowed to do it. So the Jazz, because they were the home team, got hit with the delay of game, and in the press conference, Will Hardy was asked about it further.
Team attendant came out to wipe up sweat without being asked by the officials. I don't want to give money away, so I'm not going to comment on what I think of that particular moment. Christmas is coming.
How dumb is that? How dumb is that?
He said Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
Got to have that extra cash.
Yeah, look, I can't be hit with a fine before Christmas.
Yeah, it's dumb. Kid was just trying to do his job, but I understand it. But that nearly lost him the game.
I know.
It nearly lost him the game. But
we talk about things that we've never seen before. That right there was that's something I've never seen before. A delay a game because a kid's just out there trying to do his job.
Well, the Jazz with some impressive minutes though in that game. You know, they were down by 7 or 8 earlier in the fourth quarter, and they go on that 8-0 run. They get themselves back in that game. Just somebody that you got to start to watch a little bit. And by the way, I don't know who made the decision to put all the chips in Josh Giddey's backpack for a game, but the Chicago Bulls went all in on Josh Giddey, and I don't know if that's the guy that you're like, you know, we're going to be led by Josh Giddey.
Yes.
Josh is great. I mean, he plays a lot of great basketball, but I don't know if he's the person you really want to lean on.
I know we don't see a lot of Sunday games, but that was a heck of a game. That was fun. Double OT, Jazz busting their butt out there, and the Jazz get the victory. Again, double overtime, 150 to 147. And just like that, folks, the Jazz have a winning record at home at 4-3. They're 5-8 overall on the season. And, yeah, I mean, look, they're not pushovers anymore. Now, look, who knows how long this is going to last. And if they, you know, if Danny and Austin Ainge would be like, all right, you know what, we can't have this. And Larry Markkinen gets traded. Because right now, you know, in the whole, you know, buy low, sell high, I don't think you're going to get a higher asking price than what you're going to get right now at a Larry Markkinen. Now, do you want to move him right now? Do you want to give up on him and give him to somebody that's trying to make a playoff push? Or do you continue to try to build around him? He's kind of in a weird spot where he's not quite.
He wants to win now.
He wants to win now, and he's not 22. He's like, 28, 29. Mm-hmm. So he's not like, okay, well, you know what? He wants to win now, but, man, we're going to have him for another bunch of years, and he's not yet to the prime. No, he is in the prime of his career. He knows it. His representation knows it. Everybody around the league knows it. And so they're like, okay, if we're going to get something out of him, it's got to be right now. And the Jazz are not in a situation where they can get the most out of him right now.
He turns 29 in May.
So, I mean, he's creeping up on 30, so you got to make a decision one way or another there. I would not fault the Jazz if they traded him. It would bum me out, but I wouldn't fault the logic there.
What I'd rather see is the Jazz make the blockbuster move to build around him.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because there are guys that are performing. Keontae George is worth a lot more now than he was to begin the season.
Yep.
You know, Isaiah Collier has balled out since he's jumped on a Jazz court. You know, I do think that they've got some very valuable pieces that they can add. One guy that I think the jury's still out on is Cody Williams.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's going to – I mean, when the Jazz drafted him, they knew that was going to take some time. Mm-hmm. But next year, I'll give him another year, and then you need to start seeing a little ROI on that.
Next year is a big year.
Yep. All right. Spin it, Lloyd.
Not in the unemployment line long.
Oh, he was not. James Franklin, heck of a coach, and did some good things at Penn State until this year where he lost a few games, and Penn State said, nope, go away. We're going to pay you $50 million to just not coach anymore. And Virginia Tech said, all right, fine, we'll hire him. And he's expected to be named the new head coach at Virginia Tech by the end of the week. So, no, This doesn't go into the offseason at all. This is he's taking over this program and trying to hit the ground running going into recruiting, which is why coaches are getting fired earlier, because they understand, hey, you got December to come in, evaluate, kick the guys off you don't want, keep the guys you want, and then hit the transfer portal in January. You can't be making your hire in December, in January. You need to be making your hire in late November so that these guys can be ready to go. That's why you're seeing these coaches get fired so early. But I don't know. Not that I really care that much about Virginia Tech or Penn State, but James Franklin, I think, is a good coach that did dirty at Penn State. So I think he'll have an opportunity to do some good things there.
One more if you got time.
Close, but no cigar.
Did you get to watch any of that BYU UConn game?
Oh, I did. Watched it this morning.
Man, BYU fought their butts off.
Down at one point by as many as 14, right?
Yeah, I think it was 14. Was it 17? Was 17 the highest?
Okay. Was it more than 14? I busted through it really quick this morning. So I know it was deep double digits, pushing 20.
A couple things that happened that are kind of a bummer. And we'll wait to see how these things play out. But Keba Keita left the floor with about 9 minutes left in the first half. Took a shot to his head.
Yeah,
He was getting after a loose ball and took a shot to his head. So losing Keba Keita in that game, if you had Keba, how much does that help down the stretch? I mean, he just changes everything.
Yeah. And a lot of things you don't see in a stat sheet. He just alters so many shots. He's going to get block shots, but he alters shots, alters how teams attack the rim offensively.
And then you played that game without starting guard Kennard Davis.
Yeah.
Because of the DUI following the crash, which, you and I didn't really comment on that.
No.
I think there's still a lot to be learned from what happened there. You've seen, I'm sure you've seen everything I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a lot unknown about that. But you're without Kennard Davis, and UConn led in that game, the majority of the game, and as Scotty mentioned, by double digits, a lot of the game. Fought their butts off, got back into the game. UConn misses a free throw. BYU's down by 3. Rob Wright gets the ball. He's driving the lane. He loses the ball, loses possession, gives up the turnover, and BYU loses an opportunity. But the point I wanted to make with this, losing to number 3 UConn is not the same in basketball.
No.
Than losing to a team in football that might be ranked number 7 or number 8. A loss to UConn in the early stages of the season can actually help you in different tournament ratings.
In fact, BYU loses that game to UConn and improves 3 spots in
2.
KenPom.
Yeah. See, that's the difference in college basketball.
And that's all statistically based. So, I mean, it's a different world in college basketball. You want to play those quad 1 games. You want to play those in neutral sites or even on the road. And if you lose them, it really doesn't hurt you. And if you lose them very closely, like BYU did, it definitely doesn't hurt you.
A.J. DeBonsa had 25 points. Saunders had 17. Rob Wright had 16. But pretty impressive pushback at the very end. UConn led 82-77. DeBonsa dropped in a layup with just under a minute to play. 2 free throws by Damari made it 84-79. 3-pointer by Dawson Baker. That's the one I want to point out. Dawson Baker with a deep 3. Just a nice transition pull-up deep 3. And kept that game kind of on the balance. But 86-84, BYU loses it by a fingernail.
Nope. Game neutral site, TD America in Boston. But let's be honest, that was a pretty heavy UConn crowd.
Yeah.
BYU fans still there. Down by as many as 20. It did hit 20, huh?
Yep. It was 59-39.
Yeesh. That's a hell of a comeback. All right. Hans and Scotty, we'll wrap up this bad boy next right here on The Zone.
SL Sports Zone.
Ready?
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes return home for a battle against Kansas State. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, remember, we're going to be at Bar Dub Grill coming up tomorrow. That's right. Tomorrow from noon to 3, driving to Nephi. We're going to make it worth your while tomorrow. Come on down, exit 222 in Nephi, Bar Dub Grill. And if you want to check out all the great meat opportunities, the beef, go to barwbeef.com. They'll ship anywhere in the state of Utah for free on orders over $150.
Or if you come into Bar Dub at the Bar Dub Grill just off exit 222 there in Nephi, they've got a big freezer full of steaks and burgers. And so you can get your burger or you can get your pot roast dinner. Oh, the pot roast dinner is a mainstay.
I forgot about the pot roast. You're going to be knee deep in that tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm going to hit that pot roast dinner tomorrow for sure. But you can pick up your steaks while you come out to Bar Dub too.
So you come out, try the burgers, and then be like, okay, I want to try more of that. And then you just go over to the freezer and grab yourself some steaks, some ground beef, and head on home. Because whether it's a steak, a roast, or a ground beef, it's all dry aged for 14 days. All right, Raiders and Cowboys. Your Cowboys getting a big win tonight?
Yeah, I think the boys are going to get it. You know, the Raiders have sure been on the struggle bus lately.
Are you talking about like the last 20 years?
No, they've made the playoffs more recently than that. It's been like 4 years.
One trip to the playoffs.
Hey, there's a trip.
You know, it's just incredible to me that you're looking around for a quarterback to start this season, and you're like, you know, I think we feel pretty confident in going with a old washed-up nobody that's done nothing. That's where they lost me, Lloyd.
Oh, so that's where they lost you.
Hey, look, there was 20-odd years of fandom that got flushed down the toilet by the Raiders when they and you tried. I mean, you gave Geno a shot.
At some point, they're sitting there.
You really
and
are one of those fans, and I'm not even going to call you a fan, actually. But you really do disgust me.
Lloyd, don't say things that are going to hurt our relationship.
That's really hurtful, man.
Don't say
I'm
things.
just going to say because hey, we've talked to lots of fans. That's
okay,
what we do.
So you're okay with them saying we're going to hire a 74-year-old head coach and we're going to hire a 36-year-old quarterback and we're going to see how this goes?
I mean, I think it's, as a fan, it's your job to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take an honest assessment.
Don't believe that.
I do too. Like yesterday, I gave an honest assessment that I felt like the Broncos weren't going to win that game yesterday. Now, I was happy I was wrong.
They're going to lose.
I was happy to be wrong, but you know what? I'm always going to be realistic on my thoughts on my team.
You're not much better of a fan either.
I'm a great fan.
We are going to lose Max Crosby. We're going to lose Ashton Genty. We're going to lose Jack Besh.
Stop saying it.
I can say it because
you can't.
I've been a Raiders fan as long as you have.
He's been emotionally invested.
I don't even say we.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Coming up next, JJ and Alex straight ahead. Hans and Scotty, again, tomorrow, Bar Dub Grill in Nephi. Come down, say hi. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.